Okay.
Okay. Thanks, guys, for being here. This is the 30th meetup, Hawaii iOS Developer Meetup. Quote of the week today is from Steve Jobs. Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people. Steve Jobs. Good time.
That is so true.
Okay, we've got some upcoming meetups. So on July 20th, Ryan Hansen is going to be doing a talk on Threads and Swift. Looking forward to that one. On July 27th, we're going to be discussing Firebase real-time databases. And then on August 3rd, our first meeting at the iLab, we're going to be covering ARKit. So I haven't installed Xcode 9 or iOS 11 yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to get it done, and I'm going to do some research into that, so it should be fun. But that'll be our first meetup at the iLab.
I see. When is HICap moving to iLab?
I'm not sure when they are, but we're going to be there on August 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I can stay, if I don't fly out in August, probably early August, I'll try to go there before I fly out.
Yeah, it'd be great. It'd be great.
We'll see what the situation goes.
It's a great spot.
Where are you going to be at exactly in UH?
So it's at the iLab. So the iLab, I'll actually go for everyone's benefit.
UH.
It is at UH. I'm going to go, so Tyler, if you're interested in learning more about it, you can go to ilab.hawaii.edu. And then that'll show you, pictures of the place. I think the location's in here as well. So it's a great spot. So we're looking forward to going there.
Oh yeah, they had a meeting at Wednesday there.
Nice. So location-wise, Tyler, it is located. Is this a map right here? No, it's not a map. Okay, so here's a map right here. Are you familiar with the UH campus?
Kind of.
Tyler? Okay. So you know where the art building is?
Oh, it's right next to it.
Yeah. So the art building's right here. Campus Center is over here. Kuykendall's right here. So it's this tiny little building right here. That's where we're going to be meeting.
Okay.
And then parking is going to be right over. I'm trying to get this. Right here.
Okay.
Yeah. So you come in with the kiosk, turn to left. Computer science building is right here.
The giant pink with blue windows.
Yeah. Post.
Interesting.
Okay. So if you're interested in checking this out later on, it's ilab.hawaii.edu. Anyone have any questions on that one?
Nope.
Okay. I'm going to continue going. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to share pro tip for today is open quickly. So who here has used open quickly inside of Xcode?
What is open quickly? Yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of like using what's it called? Spotlight on an iMac. You know how you have the search? You can actually do that inside of Xcode. So let's say I want to get to the app delegate real quickly without navigating to it. I'm in Xcode. I just type Shift-Command-O, and I get the call up. So I go app, delegate. You just click right to it. It's pretty great. I don't use it as often as I should, but I'm bringing it up because it'll save you some time.
Yeah. So is it only for within that project? Files within that project?
I don't think so, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Or it could be global.
I'm not sure. Okay, so I'll go back in. We just covered the upcoming meetups and the pro tip for this week. Housekeeping. So a reminder, we will be moving to the iLab at the University of Hawaii at Manoa on August 3rd. There's only 2 more meetups here at the Manoa Innovation Center, so just make sure. I think last week one of the developers showed up at the iLab, but we're not moving there yet. It's not August 3rd. Okay, so more housekeeping. It's Hawaii iOS Developer Meetup. We have a Meetup page. If you have any questions or comments, please post them to the Meetup page. Next, we're really lucky to be hosted here at HICapacity. If you're interested in becoming a member, go to hicapacity.org/membership. And if you haven't been here before, the bathroom is located down the hall, outside to the right. The key is on the black lanyard right there. Last few bits of housekeeping. Free tool Spectacle app is great for Windows manipulation with your keyboard, and also we use screenhero.com to share this right now with the streaming, and also to pair program at a distance. If you're interested in getting an invite, give me your email address and I'll add you. All right, the agenda for tonight is going to be the usual introductions, and then I've prepared a talk on debugging with Xcode. I'm specifically using the video from the WWDC 2016 because they do a great overview of visual debugging. So we're going to be unearthing some awesome gems in terms of visually debugging code in Xcode. Before we get into that, let's go into introductions. Does anyone want to go first?
I'll go ahead.
Okay.
I'm Ryan. I've been in Honolulu for like 2 years, and Actually, I've been meaning to pick up more iOS development, but I've just been continuing to develop the app that I've been working on,
Nice.
macOS. So I've been working on kind of overhauling the UI for that, in which case this past week I've learned a lot about just outline views, which is actually like the source view that you see in the left side of Xcode. So I've done a lot of work understanding the ins and outs of that, so that's kind of my win for the week is getting those under my belt and kind of plugging that into my new UI. So
Right on.
that's about it.
Okay. Who wants to go next? Jay?
Yeah, I'm Jake. I'm a app developer right now, working on a big energy audit app. Big win is we're doing demos in some of the big manufacturing conferences, and
Nice.
we're getting positive traction. I'm shooting for a beta release end of the month. Too much work.
That's coming up fast.
Yeah, this thing is super large. It's all written from Swift from 1.0 to 3 and planning the migration to 4 using some of the features there, like the serialization, thank God. But aside from little things, and I'll be around for a little while longer. Probably August is when I'm gonna probably fly out.
Okay. Okay.
Early August. So I've got a little bit of a time.
All right. Well, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Tyler?
I'm Tyler. I'm from here. Still learning. Still don't have Mac, so I'm just learning Swift as a hobby. So
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks for being here, Tyler.
yeah.
Neil, been here for 2 years. I got the version 1.3 released this week of my app with the in-app purchase. Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Start working with AudioKit, the framework. Sorry about that, and then start going through build your own Lisp with C. So
Oh, the one that Jonathan?
Yeah, the one that
Wow.
Jonathan. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Which one?
go chapter 4 right now. So
Building your what?
build your own Lisp.
Hmm.
So is Jonathan, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, Jonathan recommended that as a book.
Oh, John
to
Pascal, yeah.
yes, to learn
Speaking
a little bit of
I
C.
need to see him.
Yeah,
Sounds like you've been busy.
yeah. I started like messing around with that. So
Oh, I love C.
it's been a good week.
Cool.
Learning a lot.
I love C.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I'll go last. My name is David Neely. I'm from Oahu originally. Currently working on a bar club discovery app. Currently stuck on location. Like I just cannot get location to ping when I walk into a region. So it's just buggy. I've found a bunch of sample code. It's just not working the way I want it to. So I'm continue banging my head against the wall on that one until I got it. I've got notifications when I enter this region working, but not when I just in-app. So that's what I'm stuck on right now. I want to learn more about ARKit. I really want to learn more about that. A recent win for me has been, what's a recent win? I guess I've been running around the Alawai, and that's been a win. Like it's really difficult to get a workout regime going, and I finally got that going.
That's good.
Besides programming computers, I'm interested in vegan recipes right now. That's what I'm interested in right now. All right, so that's the introductions. Does anyone want to talk about anything before we jump into the topic today? Yeah, sure.
Who's doing the AR kit?
I was planning to do it unless someone else wants to do it.
Okay.
You want to do it, Trey?
I might be gone before then, so
Okay.
if I don't, I might sit in.
Okay.
I'm interested in trying it out because I have the new iPad Pro.
Mhm.
One of the reasons I got it also to beta test iOS 11.
Nice,
Don't do it
nice.
on your production machine ever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's beta software.
Right.
And, there's a caution carol about using beta software for production work.
I've been using iOS or Xcode 9 on my friend's computer when we use Screen Hero.
Right.
And we just can't get line numbers to show up. It's impossible to get line numbers to show up. But it could be a bug.
Could be a bug. It's a bug.
Just can't get it to show up.
Just don't. Those line numbers remind me of those basic days where you get a 10, go to print.
Yeah, I like it to be able to refer to when you're discussing code with people. Just like look at line 10.
Right.
Stop.
Well, but when you have a code that's thousands of lines, I just like using the search feature.
Oh yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Okay. Anything else before we get into debugging?
Let's go debug.
Okay, so let's get into it.
Get to do some debugging myself.
So we've done this. So I mentioned tonight's discussion topic is debugging with Xcode. Just by a show of hands, who's done debugging before? Okay, and then a show of hands, who's done debugging inside of Xcode before? Okay, all right. So you guys know about debugging in Xcode. What I'm planning to do is I'm planning to just do a talk on all the possible features there are for debugging, do a breadth first kind of thing, and then if anything kind of sticks out, we can go deeper into it. And also, if we get through this with a lot of time left over, I thought maybe we haven't done mob programming in a while. I thought maybe we could do some of that tonight. So without further ado, here we go. First, so I got the show of hands, who's done debugging before and who's done it in Xcode. Disclaimer, I mentioned this, we're going for breadth rather than depth tonight. If we do talk about something that you'd like to explore deeper at a future session, please post it as a comment to the Meetup page for this session, and if it's helpful, I'll add it as an upcoming Meetup topic. So, definition of debugging. It's the process of halting program execution with breakpoints, then inspecting the data and views to locate memory leaks, examining values at points in execution, and ensure that memory is working the way you think it is. One big thing for debugging for me has been just revealing data as it goes through. What's up, Felix? Going through, and sometimes you think there has to be 6 elements in this array, but it's actually less or something like that. Debugging will help you unearth this kind of information.
So many ways of doing it.
Yeah, so here's a list of the things we're going to cover tonight. And it looks like a lot, but since a lot of us have had experience debugging within Xcode, I think we'll be able to rip through this pretty quickly. I'm also going to be using one of my sample projects to do some debugging with, so we can kind of see it on an actual project rather than just some fake thing that we just put together. So I'll start at the top, and I'll just read through the list, then we'll go back to the top and kind of do a discussion real quick to just gauge everyone's interest in things. So, build time issues. So we all have done compilations, we see the red, we know that we can unearth issues during compile time. Did you know you can actually unearth issues at runtime with Xcode?
Yes.
I was very surprised about that one. We also have the ability to do quick looks inside of the visual debugger, where we can actually show, just by pressing the space bar, once we highlight a variable, we can show visually images, geometry, views, colors, sprite kits, scene kit, custom views as well. We're also going to be talking about FPS performance gauges. We're also going to be talking about memory graph debuggers. And then I really like good old step debugging. So we're going to talk about toggling breakpoints on and off, continuing through program execution, stepping through, stepping into, stepping out of. And then finally, PO to print objects. So we'll go back to the top of this list. Is there any questions? Does anyone have any questions about this? Any of this stuff? Have you done it all? Is this just kind of perfunctory? Does anything stick out?
I like the runtime issues.
Okay, so we'll do a little star next to the runtime issues. Anything else? Does anybody want to specifically look at anything here? Or any questions about what these things are?
Yeah, I've seen the build time. I mentioned that. So what is the quick look?
Okay. What is quick look?
Yeah, and what does it do? And then pretty much everything else like below that. So the FPS performance gauge, I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Memory graph.
Okay.
The step debugging.
Uh-huh.
Breakpoints. I don't know. I'm kind of familiar with that. It's the same thing with like Visual Basic or something like that. They would do like VBA.
Walking
inside
through.
Excel or something like that.
Yeah.
It does the same thing like breakpoints.
Yep.
So that's very familiar. I know that's really powerful
Yeah.
too.
That's my favorite.
But then that PO to print objects, I don't know what that one is.
Okay, so you mentioned earlier LLDB, like using the debugger to
Yes.
print out things. That's what PO does.
Yeah.
So you can
Okay.
actually print out values
the
of
con-
objects.
So you
Xcode
use
has
the
a
terminal
console.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a console where you can look at the views from my app. That's what I use a lot because I like to see the flow of the numbers. So if I see something funky, like a crash,
Yeah.
then I can see it right on the spot.
Yeah.
Like fatal error,
Yeah.
index out of range.
Yeah.
Are you gonna touch on all these?
I'm planning
Just
to.
Go deeper on the ones that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Felix, do you have anything sticking out to you?
I'm kind of curious about the custom quick look.
Okay. This one, I'm not sure we're really gonna. I don't have anything really prepared on that one. Just that it's a possibility. Ryan, anything sticking out to you?
Nothing that's not already started.
Okay. Tyler.
Memory graph.
Okay. Memory graph.
I think I can see where that's used for, like, because, sometimes we have memory leaks because of strong reference cycles. That's a good place to look for stuff like that.
Exactly. That's what the memory graph would be used for.
Yeah, to see if you have any cycles,
Loop.
basically reference cycles. It's easy to create the reference types. That's why.
Yeah.
That's where I think it would be good for.
And you can see this inside the memory graph.
You can see it,
Strong
visually.
references.
You see it either if it's like straightforward, it'll be like a linear thing. But if you do have circular references, it'll show it in a circle.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be able to like show it right now, like to show it, create a memory leak. But maybe with you guys' help, I'll be able to create a memory leak.
Oh, it's
We can
actually
actually see
pretty
it.
easy with classes.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so we just went through the list of topics for tonight. We starred the ones that are kind of sticking out, and let's just dive right into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to hold off on the gotchas, and I'm just going to bring up some code. So I've got, so this is the boxcar app that I'm working on with my friend. I'm seeing this error right here. There shouldn't be any errors in here. And does this look blurry to you guys too? It's pretty blurry, huh? Where is this? Okay, I think this is just these transient fails in Xcode. Okay, I'm building it one more time. That looks so blurry to me. Okay, that's good enough. I'll also go into presentation mode so we can all see it. Okay, and I'll just show what we're headed toward. Succeeded. Okay. So we'll build it out and run it. Okay, I'm going to bring the simulator up from down here. And we'll just see it execute. So me and my buddy Nick are working on this. And it's a randomly generated car. Just going to showcase it. And then I'm going to actually stop execution. So that I'm going to start leveraging some breakpoints. Okay, got this one in here. I'm going to take that one out and I'll resume execution. So it's pretty straightforward. There's a track. I'm going to press this new car button and it's going to create a brand new car. It doesn't have anything going. Let's create another one. That one's going. So it's basically the app right there. We'll restart it. And so that's program execution, right? What if I'm super interested in learning about like what the values are on a specific car or that kind of thing? I can set up some breakpoints. So by the raise of hands, everyone's done breakpoints before, so I'm not going to belabor the point. I'm just going to set up some breakpoints and then start with the bottom of the list by stepping over, into, and out of. Just by a show of hands, who's done that before? Stepping into, out of. Okay, you guys have all done it. Maybe I'll skip that part for now.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. So how about let's go back to the list and let's leverage the kind of stuff that we want to know about. So how about I'm going to go into quick look because that started right here.
Yeah.
So we'll start with that. So I'm going to come back into the code and let's say that I just want to pause program execution. That's not going to let me do it.
Okay.
So play back up. I'm going to set a breakpoint inside of the, let's see, let's put it in the game scene. Let's put it for adding a new car. So search for add. There we go. Or that's not the one I want. Add car to scene. So every time you press the button, this function gets called. I'm just going to set a breakpoint here. And I want to trigger it by adding a new car. Boom, we're into it right now. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
So what I want to showcase now is quick look. Let's do quick look. So I should be able to just highlight this And the way that you use Quick Look is you press the space bar. So that gets it going. Right here, I couldn't do a quick look for this data for new car because it's a specific type, a special type. So I go into it, SK Sprite node. Let's see, what would I want to know about this one? Okay, so I'm running into an issue here where new car is not initialized. Does anyone want to talk about why it's not initialized here on 161? Does it make sense? You guys have done debugging before and stepping. Why isn't new car anything yet on line 161? Very straightforward answer.
You've declared it. You have it initialized.
Exactly. So we're going to start stepping. Let's go. Now new car is initialized. We see all this extra information. Let's try to leverage the quick look on this one as well now. There we go. So I get to see the car. I don't have to dig into any code. I've got a visual representation of this. So I'm going to zoom back out a bit. That's the car that's been initialized there. Right. We'll move back over to our write-up. So we're talking about Quick Look here on 107. Right. Quick Look allows us to just use that visual debugger on the left-hand side of the console inside of Xcode. And by just finding that variable that we want to inspect, we highlight it, we press the space bar. Quick Look supports images, geometry, views, colors, sprite kit, which is what this is, scene kit, and custom as far as setting up your own custom field, because I'm not sure how to do it yet.
So would you have to, for a custom, let's say, would you have to add your own sort of implementation of a protocol to support Quick Look, or how does that work?
That's a great question. I'm going to write it down, and I'll have to research that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Up here. To create a Quick Look for a custom type. Okay. All right, going back into the code, we have done Quick Look. We have gone over the variable, clicked it, pressed spacebar, and we're able to see it. Does that answer your questions about Quick Look? It's kind of how it works.
Is it kind of only for like visual?
Nope. It also works for, I'm going to zoom in a bit here too. Let's say that I should be able for like this kind of thing, you know, a regular variable, the Boolean. You can see false here. SK label node, I'm not sure what that would show up. You can do it for variables as well. It's pretty much what it's useful for.
So it's kind of like summary.
Yeah, exactly.
What that type.
Yeah. So it's one way for you to see everything, all the variables that have been set up, and you can see it visually, and you don't have to go searching for it or using a command line to actually unearth it. Okay. Another feature you can do is you can actually hover over these now. So you can actually see and drill into this stuff. I believe that Quick Look is also can be used here if you want to, come on. Here we go, and we can just do a look right there. So that's another way to do it.
Yeah.
Is that just your memory location? Is that your point?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions about Quick Look before we move on? Okay, so I'll see what was interesting on the list next. So we covered Quick Look. Now let's look at runtime issues. So when I'm doing this kind of stuff and I'm running the code, I usually just look at the build time issues. So here's the thing, right? Whenever you compile, you get your build time issues. There's a ton of warnings and everything like here. I rarely go into runtime. And in researching this, I was really surprised to see that you're able to see, you know, like runtime issues inside of here. I've personally never used it, but in researching this, this is something that comes up. So in this, you would find auto layout issues would be unearthed in here. Also threading issues, locks would also show up in runtime issues. So it's something to kind of keep in mind.
Especially when you're, it's a good way to see like asynchronous programming, like encountering deadlocks. Which
exactly, yeah.
That's where it can be very, very useful.
Yeah. So we covered runtime right there. Move back into the list. So we've done runtime issues, Quick Look. I remember you mentioned FPS was also performance gauge, something we can talk about as well. I personally don't use this, and in researching this, I kind of unearthed it with the video that I mentioned that a lot of this content's coming from. from WWDC 2016. So this allows us to find out inside of, for example, this code that we're inspecting right now is a sprite kit, SK sprite kit, or sprite kit code. And when we're using sprite kit code, we're able to see, let's say you have an action inside of your sprite kit code that does something. You're able to see what amount of like the CPU it's using to do those actions versus the GPU for doing those actions. So in order to bring that up, I believe that I'm going to check out the program execution here, and I am able, so I'm going to take this breakpoint out, continue execution, and I should get an FPS listing right here, but I'm not seeing it. Let's see, there we go. So here we are able to see, as it's executing, the CPU usage. I'll zoom in a bit here on this one, and we're able to see the threading. So we get to see all this going on right here. I'm not seeing the FPS usage here, so I can't comment on that. But these are good gauges for you to use in your own projects.
And one place you can get at SPAs is with instruments.
Right, right.
So you can go, they're all do have additional tools
Right,
that you can use for things like that.
right. Okay. So that's that. Next, we're going to be moving over to the memory graph debugger. And at the same time, I'm also going to be showing the... there's also a view debugger. Has anyone seen the view debugger before? You're actually able to inspect the view as you go into it. I'll be showing that one as well. So let's start with the memory graph debugger. Head back to Xcode. Actually going to put in another breakpoint. And let's put it at the new car as well. So for this one, we're actually going to be using these tools right here. So in order to get to the memory graph debugger, it's right inside of the console, but it's going to be this one right here. So we're able to just click on that. And I think I might actually need to stop program execution at a breakpoint in order to get this to come up. So I'm actually going to stop, restart. And I'm going to add a car to the scene. And we stop program execution. So here, I want to bring up, now that we're stopped program execution, I want to bring up the memory debugger. Still waiting for it. There we go. So we're actually able to, let me see here. There we go. So it's a visual representation of the data as it's created. Over here, we're able to see the heap. In the middle, we're able to see the connections of the data. And on the right-hand side, we're able to see the stack. So I'll actually bring up the stack if it's available. So we've got memory details, all this kind of stuff. Again, the goal of tonight's talk is breadth over depth. I really thought that stepping through breakpoints would be more valuable, but it seems like we all kind of know that already. Yeah. And it is really valuable. So it's good to see that you guys have done that before. So I'm going to go back to the list and just check what we've covered. So we've covered build time, runtime, quick look. The FPS, I'm going to do a quick search on that one to see if maybe that's been combined with the CPU. I'll put that up here. Going back to the list, we've done memory graph debugger. We don't even need to cover good old step debugging because you guys are used to it. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is PO to print objects in the console. So let's just head over. So LLDB right here, stop program execution. Let's say that we're interested in maybe just unearthing of the new car. I think that's where we stopped. So let's go back into the code, just see where the thing is stopped. We'll step over it to make sure new car is initialized. It is now. And so we're just going to inspect new car through the command line right here. And the way that we do it, we just do PO, print object, new car. And by doing that, we're able to unearth all of the information that Xcode has about new car. LLDB is super slow in Xcode 8. So just be forewarned about that. But we're able to see that information about it. This is an SK sprite node, so we have a name for it: texture, position, scale, size, all those kind of things. So that's it for the list for topics that we would cover tonight. I just want to talk about a few gotchas. You guys have done step debugging before, so some of this you'll already know, but I'll just talk about it real quick. So stepping out of scope will remove the ability to inspect the value you've passed in scope. Does anyone have any questions about that? Playgrounds do not support breakpoints, so no debugging is possible within Playgrounds if you're interested in step debugging. Go ahead, Che.
Okay. It's not possible in the Xcode playgrounds, but with the Swift playgrounds for the iPad, it is possible.
Oh, okay.
Step.
And that's on the iPad
Yeah.
inside of Swift Playgrounds?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll give you a
Good point.
later.
Good point. Another comment on 128 is do not set breakpoints in comments or white space. That's just not a good thing to do.
Yeah, because it's gonna stop it.
At an odd place. You have no idea what's going on.
Exactly.
And also, final thing for gotchas is you can't go backward in program execution. So if, like on 126, if you step beyond the scope of a value or variable you're interested in inspecting, once you go past it, you can't go backward. You can't rewind program execution like you can for, some other kind of programs. Bonus points. I'm not going to cover this today because sound isn't working again. But within Xcode, I kind of want to unearth something that I really enjoy doing when I'm doing debugging is these breakpoints aren't just dumb breakpoints. You can do a ton of things inside of them. So by clicking into them, you can edit the breakpoint. And when you edit the breakpoint, you're given a lot of cool things you can do. You can set it to break with a specific condition. You can set it to ignore a few times, however many times you want before stopping. So let's say you have 7 elements in an array. You want to get to the last one. You set this to ignore maybe the first 6.
Yeah.
Always get to the last one. My favorite one, I mentioned this at the last meetup, but the sound wasn't working on this one. It's still not working. But when the breakpoint is passed or come to, you can actually have it play a sound, which is really cool. And I like doing this. So let's say, like the example I used before, is you have 7 elements in an array. Let's say you have a for loop.
Yeah.
You could have it ding for each of those elements once it goes through. So have it go ding, ding. It's not a brrr. It actually does it like nicely, so you can kind of hear it. And you can count it to yourself.
Yeah.
And then also you can have the option to automatically continue after evaluating all of these actions. So your mileage may vary for this one, but it's great, especially when you're learning programming in Xcode. This has been a great thing for me. So I'll take out that breakpoint. I'll go back into the notes that we have for today. So we talked about editing breakpoints. These last 2 things I want to cover are toggling breakpoints on and off with Command Y, and also inspecting breakpoints that you have set with Command 7. So just real quick, I'll go back in. Let's say that I have a breakpoint here, or let's say I have a ton of breakpoints in here and I just want to stop them, or I want to just disregard all of them. What I do is I press Command Y, and that toggles them.
Okay.
So if I turn them off, it'll go like usual. If I turn them back on, it will stop at those breakpoints. Final thing I'm going to do is just a keyboard shortcut to unearth the breakpoints. If you see right now, we're in the monitoring stage right here. Yeah. Keyboard shortcut to just get directly to display breakpoints is Command 7. Okay. So it just shows us the breakpoints we have. We can actually undo them here, set them here. If you're interested in removing a breakpoint, just drag it out, let it go.
Okay. Like just go delete breakpoint.
Yeah. What do you mean?
You can. There's the toggle. insert or delete breakpoints, either using that. I didn't know about that one,
Oh.
but you know the usual.
It's like, is it Command B or something?
Yeah, just
Command
say
B.
or it's one of the options. Delete breakpoint when you go to the.
Oh, I've never used that. What do you mean? So Command B on a line? Is that it?
No, on
so
the
if you're
breakpoint.
online- I can't remember if it's Command B.
Oh, that'll be build.
Build.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So
Command B
maybe
is build.
Command Shift B.
Command Shift B.
I don't know.
Yeah, but you can remove. There's more than one way.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Good
Remove
to know.
breakpoint.
Good to know.
Sorry,
Okay.
now you're analyzing.
Yeah.
Oh no.
There is one for it.
Stop.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure what it is. I don't remember. I don't use it because that was just click.
Yeah, I always just click too.
Yeah, just click. There's so many ways of doing things.
Okay, so that's the talk I had for tonight. So we have options now. We've got about 20 minutes to do some mob programming. Show of hands, who wants to do mob programming tonight? Or if you're tired, you want to just have a conversation, that's
What
fine
about a
too.
conversation?
I just have a quick question. Instruments.
Mhm.
Do you guys use instruments?
We have, but apparently from the developers that have attended and who have been willing to talk about it, no one really knows how to use it. So
Okay.
if anyone wants to do a talk on instruments, that'd be amazing.
So the only instruments that I've used is the memory leak one.
That's what I was saying. I know you can see like CPU usage at a more granular level that
Yeah.
Expo will show you also.
So now, kind of before I release any versions of my app, I actually run it through the memory leak thing just to make sure that I don't have any memory leaks that I'm unaware of. But I actually, like after trying out some of the debugging with the memory graph, the memory graph to me is kind of hard to use for some reason. But the memory leak instruments is actually a lot more straightforward to me. So it's kind of like you enter like a debug state kind of, and it will just give you a nice chart that just kind of goes across your executing the app, and then you can just try using your app, and then it will actually tell you if you have memory leaks as you're using it, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And of course,
haven't
everything
actually-
you can go back and forth and kind of like analyze it.
Yeah. So you can basically set a point in time and go and look and see what, like, kind of a stack trace as to pinpointing where this memory leak might be happening.
Yeah.
What variables are attributing to your memory leak.
Exactly. You can have two kinds of leaks. Not just memory leaks, but resource leaks. The second one is like you leave a network connection and then close it or something like that.
I didn't know
Those
that.
are kind of tough to catch sometimes. But most of the resource leaks in Swift are due to strong reference cycles within classes where you point to each other and then like a person, an apartment, and they're objects, and then somehow they reference each other and they're both strong, so there won't be deallocated because they strongly refer. So one technique is if you see that within classes, you use weak to make them optional so that you can cut out those. So you gotta watch out, especially when you have classes. That's where those type of memory leaks occur. Like I noticed that with protocols, like delegates, they're class only, so you should only have a weak reference. So that's one source. If you don't there's a lot of little gotchas with that.
I want to make a request for anyone who has some time. If someone can come up with a program, like just a project in Xcode that has a memory leak, just like very simply.
So I guess the reasons why I do the memory leak check every time is because the app that I wrote relies on using C APIs, and in C it's super easy to shoot yourself in the foot.
C and C++.
Yeah,
Both of them.
because at that point you're responsible for it. Like you don't have ARC that's gonna just automatically, release all these things. So it's up to you to release things in memory that you set up.
Exactly.
So that's like a super easy way to do it is if you're using C, but inside of Swift, like that's
Yeah, I would want it to be
Sort
Swift
of, right?
specific, like view controller or something like that. We would have a project that everyone would have an opportunity to really look at, and we could go through using instruments and kind of verify it and everything.
if you create a class with another class, like you say, store person, like nested class, and then you create the other class and nest the other one inside, will that create that strong reference one?
that could, especially if they're
I'm
classes.
just thinking out of something that maybe type in like 5 minutes really quick and create it and see how it looks on the memory stack if we have like the time.
Yeah, you guys want to do that?
And also, there's some good examples of potential reference cycles. They talk about it in the Swift programming guide. You know the.
Okay, I'm gonna just start a new project. I'm happy to just code it up unless someone wants to hop on here, code it. We're just gonna code up a memory leak for the next 20 minutes and try to just look at it instead of instruments. Does that sound good? Good usage of time?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, let's do a memory leak project.
And also another way you can also get memory leaks in Swift is if you use the unsafe Swift, the unsafe pointers.
Let's set it up. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, brand new project. I'm gonna call it leak 001. And I will put it in here. Okay, so here we go. Just creating a new project in View Controller. I'm happy to just take examples. Just shout out what you want me to type up. Any ideas to start?
I don't have any ideas, but I remember there being some good examples that I saw online.
Okay.
I can't really remember them.
Okay.
Yeah, what I was thinking is just, I don't know, if you
Just
create
search.
like two classes
Okay.
and have them point to each other,
Okay.
and you have a variable that creates the other class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, class 2 and then the other like class 1.
Okay.
And
So
then your variable whatever like equals 1 inside the other one.
okay.
So
So
2 and then 2 inside 1.
so I'm going to create two classes. One's going to be called 1. One's going to be called 2. And then we just have a variable name maybe
Yeah.
equals David.
They'll have the variable like actually create an instance of the other class.
Oh,
Each
inside of
other.
1.
Yeah, so
Okay.
variable 1.
Oh, okay,
is having
gotcha.
Instantiate 2
Okay.
within it,
Okay.
and then have a variable inside 2 instantiate 1 within it,
Okay.
and now you have two classes pointing to each other.
Wait. Okay. So I want to name this one maybe 2 instance, just to make it a little clearer, and then 1 instance. These are horrible names.
One is the yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got those two. And then inside of here, you want to leverage them? Or how do you want to test it? Or how do you want to break it?
Well, if you created either a 1 or a 2,
Inside of here.
yeah, it's on
Okay.
here.
1 instance equals 1. Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah.
Okay, let's run it. Waiting for it. Let's bring up the console. So go CPU usage.
Earth this creates a new
We're successful. Oh shoot, I'm sorry, it's just taking a... Find that if I don't use the same simulator, it goes through the whole initialization process. I'm just stick with that 6S Plus. Run it again. Okay, this should be faster.
Which comes to another question. Is there a way to like make simulator faster?
Make what?
Simulator faster?
No.
No.
But basically, you just take two classes, have one variable point to each other, and if they're classes, they hold reference to each other, and so you get an easy memory loop. Like here's an example. Look, in the book, class person.
I think that's what we just did then.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because you notice that they reference
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're running now. So now we're going to look at the monitor, just to look at this, if there's like a memory leak on this one. You guys can't really see that. Disk 152, 60, 260. I'm happy for you guys to just say what you want to look at. If you want to profile it in instruments.
Do the memory graph.
Okay. So we go down here. Memory graph. Capturing memory graph. Okay. There we go. All right. What do you want to do next, Ryan? Or anyone?
I'm not really sure what to do inside of this. It's just basically like jump out at it.
Oh, I see.
Can we
But we can actually, so here's one thing that I kind of learned is that, you see these? This allows us to extend further beyond, but it looks like it's coming from there. Is it meant to be able to just click them through so we get to see more?
Out of mouths.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't spend too much time on this, but I felt like this is hard to figure out
Yeah, right.
where like a leak or something like that could happen.
Neil, you're saying that Ray Wenderlich just released a advanced debugging book.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a book.
Yes.
Do you know if it covers this stuff? The
I'm not
memory.
100% sure.
Okay.
And I know they have an instruments course.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they do.
So it'd be good, maybe just by a show of hands, who would be interested in like maybe just a full session on memory debugging this thing. Would anybody be interested in that? Or maybe not? Maybe just stick with instruments?
It's a good idea. It's a good idea because especially when you have large programs,
Yeah.
it becomes a big issue.
No to know.
If need be, so I do have an account with them. I wouldn't mind like if we run through the videos from like as a one session. I just
that'd
wouldn't
be
mind
great,
like
yeah.
broadcast. I wouldn't want like broadcast it.
I
If it is-
see,
if
I
it's
see.
in private content. So
Right,
if,
right.
If you're okay with not broadcasting that one session, then we can just play the videos here as long as we have sound, or I mean I can bring maybe some speakers or something like that.
Would that be helpful for people?
Is that
Okay.
I think the whole course is over 1 hour, but you're probably really interested to see.
Okay, so review Wenderlich video regarding debugging, or is there a more explicit way of saying it?
Instruments,
Okay.
specific to instruments.
Instruments.
So I may probably catch you some debugging.
Okay, cool. So I'll work with you.
I shoot you out. I'll shoot you more information. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Later.
Okay, so we just covered the memory, shoot, what's it called? What's the exact wording for it? The memory graph debugger. We're going to switch over to instruments because that's what we're kind of used to, right? So we'll switch over.
Remember, it's still the same. Still 319 or 3.9 megabytes.
Yeah,
So if there was a memory leak, it would consume more memory.
Right.
More memory, right?
Right. Let's see.
Is
so
it
I'm
just
going
because it's not being used? I mean, it's pointing
Yeah,
to each other,
so I
but it's
mean,
not
it's-
being used, right?
Yeah.
To do something?
The strong reference is pretty. This is really small stuff. we're
Yeah.
talking about.
Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna stop this one. How about let's augment this code and
It's like,
make
yeah,
it more
these
brutal?
things are memory leaked. It's still like what, a couple of
Right.
kilobytes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you're having large objects,
Yeah.
then you can kind of see it.
So like, you know, my app it's listening to trackpad input the whole time. So the very first memory leak that I had was just like, you know, it wasn't releasing all of the touch objects that get generated when you put your finger on a trackpad, right? So then you could watch the memory just balloon like crazy because every time you move your hand on the trackpad, it wouldn't release those. So the memory just like, you know, just constantly grow.
Right.
Okay.
Maybe we can see. I mean, just even with this simple little project, maybe we can see it kind of rise with the instruments. We just
I
check
mean,
it
with
out.
instruments, maybe it'll just give you the warning thing. It's like, hey, you got a memory leak here. Right.
Let's
So
see if we can get
that's
that
possible.
going.
Yeah.
Just to kind of maybe close out too, because we're kind of nearing the end. Okay. Let's see. So we just want to get it going, and then we'll get into profiling with instruments. Did you have a specific way you wanted to get into it?
There's a couple different ways you can get into it.
Okay.
I think
Oh, yeah, you can go Xcode, and then it's developer. You're still gonna get into instruments, right?
yeah,
Open
that's-
developer tool.
That's one way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Instruments. All right.
That's the easiest way. I don't know.
I think you can hold down a click on the play button for running it.
Okay. So do we want to go this way?
This way's fine.
Okay.
Sure.
And then we wanted to go for memory, right?
Yeah. So it means
Leaks. There we go. We're choosing it. There we go. Whoa. It's gonna be a crash there.
so if you hit the record, it should just restart the app.
Okay.
So select your app. Or about it this way. So as opposed to doing that, you could just cancel this out.
Okay.
And see if you can just go.
Close
You
this.
can leave it open at this time.
Okay. Go back into Xcode.
Yeah, so hold down and click on the play button for running it.
So control or
I think you just hold down.
okay. There we go.
Profile.
File.
Jump into. Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll just go straight to just mind it. I don't know if there's anything else I did. Like,
I think yeah. I think so.
I forget exactly how I ended up in some places. Yeah.
All right. For leaks, choose. And now we press record.
Yeah.
Stuff. I'm just gonna run this down here. Okay, and we should get going. There we go. Program execution started. Try to get in as much as possible. So already,
So it will pull every periodically. Like I think it's defaults to like 10 seconds for a memory leak. So there you can see the check marks. It means that it didn't find a memory leak
Okay.
for the first 10 seconds, which means it probably won't find this the way that our app is.
I see.
Because you would expect it to find it immediately.
But we are seeing allocations, right?
Yeah.
Ramping up.
I don't know if half a meg is normal for an application, but you do see the memory increasing.
And actually, even without using that, you can kind of see, look at the total memory. Every time you initialize your grease, when you get out of the view controller, when it pops,
Right.
it should decrease. If it doesn't, you may have a reference cycle.
Right. I think it's the deallocation is the
Yeah.
part that we really want to focus on. That it's
Right.
like holding, yeah.
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 So if we had maybe two view controllers to work off of each other,
Yeah.
or put in a navigation controller or something like that,
Yeah.
we could pop, push.
Like, especially when you use delegates, you want your delegates to, the variable to be weak. So you have to make the protocol, a class protocol to avoid potential reference cycles. It was talked about in the advanced Swift process. Because that's, between view controllers when you delegation, because you gotta have a delegate. That variable has to be weak, otherwise you end up getting a potential reference cycle. It's a common mistake to make.
Yeah, so this looks like it just finished executing and it didn't find anything
Okay.
over the app apparently. So maybe instruments is just not tuned for something of this sort.
Tiny little bites.
Yeah, you need a bit more substantial app.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just,
But it is really nice, like, because you'll like, say that you just have an app that's, it's running, you have a window open and you're doing stuff with it, then it'll keep going through and then it'll give you, like, instead of a check mark, it'll give you, like, the exclamation that finds a leak, and you can click on that and it'll give you basically like a stack trace on the right side.
Yeah.
And then essentially how much memory you're actually leaking on these objects in this kind of table view. So, which, it's actually, you saw it's pretty easy to get it up and running.
yeah,
So,
absolutely. Just holding it down on the play button a bit more.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty nice to have those tools actually just built in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have that in a lot of other development environments, so it's pretty cool.
Okay. So that was a talk on debugging. Next week, Ryan's going to be doing a talk on threads in Swift. So thanks for your time. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. If you guys have any questions or comments, please post them on the Meetup page. That's it for today. Thanks.
Got a question. Well, writing on click with GCDs, did you have issues with